Hello everyone, welcome back to the Avalon Game Project. Yesterday we have refactored 4 out of 5 states and made changes to some of the oh, I forgot to commit the code yesterday. Refactor states part 1. Yeah. Okay. So we have refactored 4 out of 6. Today I think we'll refactor the rest too, which is the game setup and the team leader assignment. Leader assignment state. So first of all, I'm questioning about the name. So in the beginning, when we actually implemented this, so I was debating myself, how should we name this? So let's think about what this state do. So actually it's automatic state. So it's it really doesn't handle an event unless the event is passed from the previous state. This is something we do not want. This is something we don't want to. Yet this is something we don't want to have because it's a transient state. Basically, it can be transferred into. It can be broken down into an exit or enter actions of another state. So let's take a closer look at this. So the reason why in the beginning we thought to have this state is because so after so we come to this, we do similar things when we do similar things when we end a round voting, end a quest voting, or even start a game, which is depends on the situation. We want to start a new mission. We want to start a new mission, we want to start a new round, and we want to move the team leader to the next. We basically rotate to the next team leader. So I'm thinking maybe we could just consolidate all this logic into a service. I think this could be I think it could be in the mission service. Well, not necessarily. Well, it could. We could put this into mission service so that in the game setup, the exit condition is to basically start a mission and start a round. Well, I think start mission by default starts a round because a mission cannot exist without a round. So I think the mission service, quest service should have a dependency of round service. So when the new quest is created, a round is created by default. Then, so game setup, when we exit, we create a quest, and the quest automatically create a round, and we assign a team leader. So round voting so on exit depends on the next state. So okay, so if we were to do this, the exit action actually the exit action should know what is the next or actually, you know what, let's make some changes to this first. So if we were to remove the team assignment, team leader assignment, we basically leave. So we basically do something like this. So round voting could just go back to team selection if well, next leader is implied. So quest voting also goes back to team selection. So in this way we have this much simpler state machine. So let's think about this. Where do we put the logic? So do we put the logic in team selection? So we could potentially, when we call the onEnter, we could potentially pass in the previous state, so that the current state could know where it transitions from, and from that decides what to do. So that's approach one. Actually, you know what? Let's write it down. So approach one, to expand, to add previous state parameter to the onEnter hook. So let the next state decides what to do. So what is another approach? Another approach is approach two, let the current state decides what to do. Add next state parameter to the onExit hook. So two approaches. Is there anything else? Well, I think approach three, add a new transient state type to perform actions, then immediately transitions to the next state. Okay, let's look at the picture and think about the three approaches one by one. So if we let the current state decide what to do, then the team selection state must know. So what does it do when it transitions from the game setup? So okay, one by one, game setup. It doesn't have to do anything because it is the first state. So it does not have any previous state. So it doesn't need to do anything. So team selection. So if the previous so you know what, writing things down is a good habit. Game setup, do nothing. Team selection. So game setup, it creates a quest. So if it comes from round voting, it creates round, and it comes from quest voting, it creates quest. So okay, team selection. And what about round voting? Actually nothing other than team selection. They all just have one single transition from state. So it makes things very clear. They know where it comes from. Only team selection needs to know what is going on. But also, on the other hand, teams, so these, we don't need to pass in the state. The team selection state could get all these information from the database. For example, if it finds no quest, then the previous state must be game setup. So all I need to do is just to create a quest and then subsequently create a round. Round voting, it is also simple. It just simply check to find the last mission. If the last mission has no result, that means the voting hasn't finished because we leave. So let's look at the, so okay, in round voting, we really should know. Actually, let's take a look at the code. So in round voting, we verify if the round has completed. So basically, we assume that when we call the handle round vote cast method, it should detect if this is the last vote, and if it is, it should just calculate the result and update the current quest in the database, so for it to have a result. So in this case, the team selection state would also know that, okay, we have just finished a so we have just, so it looks at the last mission. So if the last mission has a state, has a status, let's say fail or pass, then it knows for sure that it comes from quest voting. or round voting, doesn't matter, because the good thing about this is that, okay, it could come from round voting, doesn't matter, but either, so because we can only have 5 rounds or else the mission fails. So if it sees the last mission has a state, then it knows that it should create a mission, create a quest. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Take a look at the last quest. If the last quest has a status or state status, or has a result, it just creates a new quest. And if it doesn't, then it knows for sure that, okay, we need to start the next round. Okay, this actually makes sense. So let's explore approach 2. So if we let the current state decides what to do, and on exit we know where are we going. So for game setup, it doesn't need to. Again, we only need to provide this to any state which can go to different places. So in this case, what we need to worry about isn't game setup, because it only transitions to one state, and nor team selection, because it only transitions to round voting. Now what we need to think about are the 2 states, the round voting and the quest voting, because both of them can can transition to 2 different states. So in this case, game setup doesn't need to do anything. Then team selection, no, actually game setup on exit, it would just create the mission, the quest, and then subsequently the round. And on team selection, on exit, it would just create a round, team selection. On exit, it actually doesn't do anything. So for round voting, if it goes back to team selection, it actually does nothing. Yeah. So to round voting, if it knows whether it goes to team selection or quest voting. So if it goes back to team selection, it would create a new round. And if it goes to quest voting, it doesn't do anything. So how about quest voting? So if it goes back to team selection, it creates quest. And if it goes to endgame, it does nothing. I'm debating. Approach 2 seems it's a little bit counterintuitive. So game setup creates quest, team selection does absolutely nothing, and on round voting, it either creates round or do nothing. On quest voting, it either creates a quest or do nothing. But here, if we put all the responsibility to team selection, okay, well, we also have to consider the fact that when we create a quest, it also announces itself. So we could potentially make the team selection very smart, or we distribute all these decisions to different states. I actually don't know which one's better. But somehow approach 2 to me makes more sense, because this is what we do, right? So when we start a game, we know to really complete, well, not necessarily. We could argue that, okay, when we exit game setup state, we know we need to create a quest. And on exit round voting, state, if it goes back to team selection, it should just create a new round. And the same as quest voting, if it goes back to team selection, it should create a new quest. But does it really make more sense to leave this to the team selection, which we could also argue that, okay, team selection, when it enter team selection state, if it knows the previous state is a game setup or quest voting, it creates a quest. But if the previous state is round voting, it creates a round. And this could, so we don't even need to add anything to to make changes to enter, because this can all be determined from the database. So again, if we see no quest or a quest with state, then we create a quest. If we see a quest without a state, we create a round. So, and for the transient state, it basically it's basically approach 2, only not defining this in the state, but basically create something else. No, I think no. This makes things less clear, I would say. Yeah, because defining a chain of state and pass the next state to the previous one is not that intuitive writing down as code, and inserting more state would just make things less clear. I'm leaning on approach one. So in this case, all this complicated logic is encapsulated in the on the service level. The state itself doesn't really care. It can still keep as simple as on enter just calls mission service dot mission service dot on handle team selection. Actually, so this, okay, if we were to do to go with approach one, I think there's we need to also consider the dependency hierarchy of services. So I think so if we leave this to the quest service needs to understand, okay, what is the last quest, and I think creates around should not be the responsibility of the quest service. I almost want to create add another layer between services and the state machine. Just call it state machine service or game service. No, game service should yeah, because okay, I just want to so now we have different some models or entities. In this case, we have game, we have quest, we have player, we have round, we have round vote, mission vote, assassination target. All these, to me, they are parallel, or so okay, so if we were to have an overall service which depends on all the individual services, it could easily handle and distribute all this service call to different services. This is something that we want to extract from the state machine, but the logic itself still remains. So one could argue, okay, why not just leave it, just expand the state, each state, so that we don't need this service, because in each state we are just making this one call to make it look simpler. Actually, that is a very good question. But if we were to have everything in the leader assignment state, we don't oh no, sorry. If we leave everything to the team selection state, so the rest of the states, we don't need to change that much. We do need to, so the only complexity is in the team selection stage. We could potentially create a so-called team service. No, I don't like it. Because there's no concept of team. Or we could call it the game manager, which so in this case, game manager would handle all the like team proposals submitted. So here we only care about where it transitions to and transitions from. So the problem would be how do we do this? The more I think about it, the more I like this idea to have a so-called game manager or state service, basically to unify the dependency of all these states. Because frankly speaking, we talked about to move all these detailed information to the service level, but the thing is the service function call should just do one thing. Like for example, this quest, let's take a look, the handle quest vote cost. It does a couple of things. It first of all should save the vote, then it calculates. So that's it saved the quest vote. That of course should belong to the quest service, because of course we have to do some validation, and then it needs to verify if this vote is completed. So basically this, it should also belong to the quest service. And then if it is completed, it needs to update the quest entity to, it would of course calculate, so fetch all the quest vote, come up with a result, then update the quest entity. So this would be a problem, which let's take a step back. What I'm thinking is that the team selection state could just use service call to verify all these, to verify if it is what's the previous state. So it finds out, it looks for the last quest to verify okay, so team selection should only depend on quest, should only depend on quest service, because all these is about quest. But when create a quest, how do we make sure that it subsequently creates a round? That would make quest service depends on the round service, which is okay in a way. I don't think it's a huge problem. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'll just do it. So first of all, let's remove the leader assignment state. This looks ugly. I don't like it. I'm gonna remove this. So now quest voting state. Quest voting state. It has a leader assignment state, but we have decided to quest, so both round voting and quest voting goes right back to team selection. So game setup first. Game setup state. It goes directly to team selection state. Actually, let me just do this refactoring. Refactor team selection state. So we need to change here the team selection state. Okay, so transitions to team selection state. So no, this doesn't matter. So we only cares about handles what transitions from where to where. Okay, so we have this. We have game setup. Then we want to make changes to round voting. Round voting goes again directly to team selection state, and this should change to team selection state. Okay, and then the tests. Oh god, the tests are not changed. Quest voting, refactor name, team selection state, and change this to team selection state. Okay. And team selection state. So this no longer needed. So let's delete this. Search new usages. Okay, it's still used in many places. Oh Lord. We need to change that. So game setup. So let's first of all go to the. Wait, there's no game setup. Games. How did we test game setup? We don't give it. Oh, we just gave it a mock state. Which is okay, I guess. So for leader assignment state, so can we also just rename all this to team selection state and make this, wait, no, why I'm doing this? No, game setup, we don't care. Team selection, we have, team selection, we're not also not doing it. Team selection state. What about its next state? Oh, it just used mock one. Oh, cool. So quest voting and round voting. Quest voting. Okay, that's why. So let's make changes to this should be team selection state. And I'll rename this to team selection state. Okay, and we could potentially just, oh, okay. Round voting state. And the next state, round voting state we assume to be quest voting state. And okay, pretty good. This is no longer needed. How about this one? So again, this should be team selection state. Yeah. And the name should change, refactor to team selection state. Team selection state. So we don't need this anymore. And the only thing left is the leader assignment state, but we don't need this anymore. So let's just remove this and try to safely remove this one. Okay, it is removed. Okay, we still have something. We don't have this anymore. Okay. But it is already deleted. I wanted to do a global search on leader assignment. So I want to remove this entirely. So what's left is just in the documentation, but this event we might still need. No, this is not okay. So I think we have removed that, and now we can go make changes to the game setup state, team select game setup state, the player service. Actually, so player service. Game setup, should it have player service? Player service handle it handles two events, because in the game setup state we also have to deal with player joining the game, because every time a player joins the game, we still pass that event to the current state, which is the game setup state. So it other than game started. So this is on so transition to handles game started event. And I think I have something else, which is player joined. Okay. So now we have that. We have to go make changes to the game setup state, and player join event. Do we have an event name for that? Player joined. Okay. Game setup. No, actually, how have we designed this? Okay. And the player join event. Yeah, I'm debating if I should change all this to lowercase. Let's deal with that later. This is some inconsistency and I'm very not uncomfortable with it. So player service, so now instead of this we have to do something like not in started event type dot player joined expects game start event or player joined event. Got something. Okay, so in this case I could keep this in the same line. Yeah, I think this is good. So this I don't think I'll have to use the initialize. Frankly speaking, there are a couple of things we need to do here when so here is a different thing. So we could potentially have a game setup, a game service, which just handles the event. But what we could do is for it to have a game service. Do we have a game service? Yes, we do. Game service and a player service. So if we were to have a game service, so what we need to do is if event.type equals to event type dot player joined, player service handle player joined. We want to handle this event, yes. Okay, we'll deal with that later, and afterwards we want to return ourselves. But so at this point, we know for a fact that it's only gonna be game started event. We don't really need this if statement. Then let's not add it if it's not needed. And we can add it to here. So in this case, let's go back to the game setup state. I think this is rather clear, but we do need to make some changes to test game setup state. The game setup state, what we have here, is that so tested game web state, test invalid event. So this invalid event, yeah, I guess. So this should be handle what this event, game started event with game started event. We other than the player service, we also need a game service. So here we have a game service. We pass that in. Now we have a proper game setup state, and when we handle the game started, we handle game started event, we would assume that the next state is the past the in state, and the player service dot handle player joined assert not called. But we want to assert that game service dot handle game started assert called with event, and state handle, yeah, we know for a fact that it's called, so we don't need this. So we could copy paste this thing and make some changes to with player joined event, and when this is player joined, so when it's this event, we know for a fact that the next state is the game setup state. So basically itself, we want to verify that the handle player game joined, we want to do something like assert called once with event, and we want to make sure that this is not assert not called, something like this. And I think at this point, okay, oh right, because here we don't have a game service, so that this is not properly initialized. So now we have fixed this. Yay, okay, everything passed. Perfect. Okay, so we have fixed this, and now the only thing left is the team selection state. So as we have discussed, that the team selection state should have only quest service. So let us grab the test and refactor the team selection state while we do. So first of all, this round service is no longer round service. We would refactor it to quest service. And this should also change to quest service. So this is also changed to quest service. Once that's done, so handle team proposal submitted. But on enter, instead of notify team proposal, it should really be handle on enter team selection state. Did I name the same? Yeah. Team selection. Can we simplify this even a little furthermore? Team selection, team nomination, team forming. Meh. Okay. So now we have this. And once we rename this quest service, no, actually, I don't think so. I think the team proposal submitted should still be handled by the quest service, or the round service. So in this case, I almost want to do this. We have the quest service and the round service as dependency. Wait, we don't have a round service? Wait, what? Yeah, round service. Okay, I think there must be something went wrong while we're doing team selection. Missing one round service. Okay, this makes sense. So that okay, doesn't matter. So team selection state, we have round service, we have quest service, and self.round service equals to round service. And here service. So here we still want the round service to hand the team proposal submitted because it is related to the round. So now here we should have two fixtures, which is a round service and a quest service. This should be a quest service, and this should be a round service. And here when we create a team selection state, we need to add the round service to the dependency list to pass it in when we create it. And we want to verify that when it handles the team proposal submitted, the round service dot handle team proposal submitted is called by I think this whole event. Okay. Again, we have to add this to the fixture list. Invalid, so okay, so quest no round service dot handle team proposal submitted assert not called, and on enter we still need a round service. This is passed to create the team selection state, and on enter we want to know that the quest service dot handle enter assert called with game ID. Yes. So now what is the error? The error is that team selection state dot on enter is this. When team selection state dot on enter game ID, it has some problem because the quest service dot handle oh yeah, it is called by game ID. No, it was right. Why? Team selection state dot on enter would fail because this is a mock. What? What is going on? Quest the service. Quest the service. Okay, quest the service doesn't have doesn't have this method. Handle on enter team selection state. Wait, why this is round service? What did I do? It should be in quest. Why it is? What is giving me this? This is wrong. Should be in quest service. And this should not be called a mission service. It should be called quest service. As here. Now everything's passing. Yay! Okay. So we have finally refactored all the states. We have removed one, which is a great achievement in my opinion. So we have game setup. Let's take it all. Take a closer look. So handles game started and player joined. Transitions to team selection state when receiving game start. Perfect. And if it is player joined, it handles the player game joined event, return self, or else it handles the game started event and return the team selection event, the state. Okay, in the team selection state, we have two services, quest service and round service. So on enter the quest service should go take a look at the missions and decide what to do. But after that, when a proposal is submitted, the round service would handle that. And after handling that, we proceed on to round voting state. So in round voting state, we have it can transitions to two different states. So we want to verify that if the round vote is completed, if it's not completed, we remain at the current state, or else if the proposal has passed, we go on quest voting. If it failed, we go back to team selection. Yes, and the team selection would know whether to create a new round or it would create a new round or new mission. So we have decided to push everything down to team selection. So game setup, team selection, yep. So now we proceed on to quest voting. So if the quest is not vote is not completed, it will remain remain at the quest voting state. If someone has one majority, we proceed on to game end state. Wait, isn't that end game state? We haven't renamed to end game state, right? Yeah, end game state. Refactor. End game state. Same as your refactor. End game state. Okay. So in the test quest voting state, end game state. Yes. Okay. And in the end game state, we simply verify if Yeah, we simply verifies if there's anything left, any assassination attempts left. If not, we're going to, so I'll enter. If nothing, we simply, yeah, so this is also something. So we might, so here we might have some problem because here on enter, we might just not. So here on enter, we need to know if we still need to call handle. So basically this can be a transient state. So we still have something like this. Or we could split this into an assassination state. And for the round voting state to decide where to the quest voting state on exit to here for it to decide whether to go to there. But this is again too complicated. Then it can go to 4 places, which is just too much. So it can go to, wait, it should only go to 2. Why we have that much? Why we have that many? Oh yeah, 3. Yeah, because it can also remain not changed. So this would have a different branch to see if we do want to do assassination. If not, we directly go to the end game. Okay, let's do it next time. I think today we have worked long enough. I will submit today's code and see you guys next time. Bye.